Hi, everyone, and welcome to this edition, I guess, of our athlete interviews for the month of September for Life Vantage Australia. I'm really honoured to be here tonight and interviewing this incredible athlete, Shane. So, Shane is 55. I think I'm allowed to tell everyone that. He is a Grandmasters national level competitor in bodybuilding and powerlifting, and he holds multiple titles and records over a 30-year competitive career. So I'm really excited to interview you tonight. Thank you for joining us wherever you are in the world, and I hope that this helps you and you get some value out of this and you see why there's so many athletes that are cottoning on to why NRF2 is so important for them in their training and what it's doing for them. So welcome, Shane. Can you tell us a bit about your career as an athlete? When did you start competing? What competitions you've done and what you've competed in?
Sure. Okay. Well, back when I started training, that's when dinosaurs ruled the earth. We used to train with sticks and rocks. Not quite that bad, but almost. I started, my initial venture into fitness was when I was in early high school, and I was actually a long distance runner and cross country runner. I did that for a number of years, and then I was about 14 or 15 when I discovered weights. And as I was doing, I sort of fell in love with doing weights. And as I was sort of doing weight training and my weight was increasing, my times were slowing down in long distance running. So I was shortening my distances and going to middle distance. And eventually I got down to like 200 metres, and I thought, well, I'm never going to be a sprinter. So I gave running away. I had made it to state, to national level competition. But my coach said, give the weights away. That's no good. You're just going to get too heavy. You won't be able to run. Well, I said, well, I like this better. So I continued with that for a few more years. And eventually, when I was about 24, I think, I did my first bodybuilding competition. And I was still pretty skinny. But it was a learning experience, and I really enjoyed that experience. And then I went on to compete a number of times in the 80s. Then with some reasonable success, I won a local and a state title. But then I discovered powerlifting, and I did that for into powerlifting for probably 15 years. And had a lot of success with that. And it's a sport I still love the most today. Just in 2007, I came back to bodybuilding. So I'm doing a bit of both now. And I was just looking through the records there. I still have a few records on the books that are still standing from quite a few years ago. So that's basically my story, and I hope I haven't bored you too much with that.
Oh, no, it's not boring. Everyone's on here because they want to hear what you've done and what you're doing and what you're achieving. So, in light of the fact that we're talking about NRF2 activation and Protandim, as you know, what attracted you to NRF2?
Okay, I sort of discovered it in a bit of a roundabout way. Someone that I didn't even know thought it might be a good product for me to try, and I think they're a friend of my father's, and they mailed me a pack, and I sort of put it aside in the drawer, and I take so many supplements. I thought, I don't know much about this. The guy reckons it's great. I'll sit down and have a look at it when I get a chance. And literally months went past, and I really didn't even remember I had it. And then one day I opened the cupboard, and I had a bit of time, and I thought, I'll have a look at some of this research and just see, if there's anything to it, because so many supplements that I've tried just about every supplement there is known to men since like going back to the early 80s. And there's been such a huge advance in supplementation, sports supplements and life extension health supplements in that period of time. So again, I've seen good and bad, and I've been very sceptical. So once I looked at the information, I thought, oh, it sounds promising. And I started taking it, and I can't say back at that time I noticed any incredibly instant results or anything. But what I did find was that, and this was fairly noticeable straight away, my recovery times were improving. And at the time, I sort of put it down to my training techniques and my diet. I didn't sit down and scientifically analyse what was helping me. But around about this time, I was breaking some national records in powerlifting. And so, yeah, look, long story short, I used that pack, and then I let it go and didn't use anymore. But about 12 months ago, Denise sent me a book. I think Denise hooked me up on it, and Denise was really good with explaining what was behind it and the science, and she's educated me a lot. I mean, I'm a slow learner anyway, but she's filled me in a lot of the science, and I've looked at a lot of the studies and so forth. So I read what go, and since I've been using it and analysing the results, I have found that it is a very effective product, and it's one that I will continue to use all the time.
Awesome. So when you said before about that you've noticed like your recovery and your performance, what have you noticed, like specifics in your training, because you're training for some more competitions, right?
Yeah.
So training. So what have you actually noticed? What's happening that hasn't happened before?
Well, at my age, it's usually most people start to think once you're past 40, and I'm well past 50, 55, that you have to just, start to accept mediocrity and accept the fact that you're not going to be as strong as you were in your 20s or 30s. And I can honestly tell you that in most lifts, I'm considerably stronger than I was in my 20s and 30s. And I'm going to be putting that to the test again next year. I'll be doing a series of powerlifting competitions. But the immediate thing I noticed was, as I say, before my recovery time, my strength increases. Now, I've also I get regular blood work from a doctor. And before I got on the Protandim, he was telling my cortisol levels were quite high, which is obviously a negative. And once I had been on it for a while, he said, well, your cortisol levels have noticeably dropped. And as a consequence of that, also I have a lot less soreness after workouts. Which allows me to push harder in the consecutive workouts, and so they're the main things that I have noticed. Just general robust health is a plus, but I've always been a fairly healthy guy, so I can't give you a dramatic story about how I had a broken neck or I came back from having cancer or something.
Yeah, no.
But I can tell you that. My recovery times and my strength levels have improved markedly since using it regularly.
Awesome. Well, I know, like we spoke the other night, and I've had the same happen to me. I've already done an interview a couple of weeks ago, and I've had the same where my recovery in the gym, and when you're in the gym a lot, as most people will know, you get to know your body really well, right? You know when you're recovering well and when you're not, and when something's not there. And all of the athletes that I've spoken to are saying the same. Their recovery is incredible. Their sleep, so they're actually sleeping properly, instead of broken sleep. Because sometimes athletes' minds keep thinking over and over and they don't actually stop properly. Sleep, and then the same with the hormones are settling down. Because when you're asking your body to train a lot, you're disrupting the hormones. Hey, you're changing those hormones up a lot when you're forcing the muscles to grow. So awesome. A lot of the athletes are saying the same about recovery. They can get in the gym a lot quicker than what they were able to, and the muscle soreness isn't there, right? Is that what you're finding?
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that ever since I first trained, I've never trained more than 6 days a week. And I've always been taught that you must have at least 1 day of full rest. And, I've found that I don't require that day off. I just want to get into the gym every day, and I'm forcing myself to take a day off just for sanity's sake, because the music in the gym's driving me crazy at the moment with all that doof and rubbish they're playing. So I need to get away from the gym every now and then just for my sanity. But I'd be in there 7 days a week without, and I'm not endorsing that as a way of training, but I'm just finding for myself, for the first time in my life, I can comfortably train at that level. And I've trained twice a day, 6 days a week before, and I'd be doing that right now if I didn't have the limitations of having to go to work and earn money. So otherwise I would be doing that. And I think the results I'll be getting would be, absolutely incredible, because just with what I'm doing now, it's, I'm progressing so well. And again, at my age, people are saying, "Oh, you should only be training 3 days a week. You are 55, Well, stuff that.
Well, you're activating your body, right? So when your body's activated and it's doing what it's meant to do, you can keep on going. That's the whole idea of this. So those antioxidants are working overtime. So now you're taking Protandim and you're taking it, regularly, and you've got that all down pat. What are you fast forwarding and training for now? What's your future aspirations to see what you can actually do at 55, powerlifting or bodybuilding? What is up next for you? Because I know that everyone's going to be watching what you do and they want to know what are you up to now? What are you going to do?
Well, there's so much I've got planned. I'm so excited about everything at the moment. I want to do a bodybuilding competition again next year, but I also want to do powerlifting competitions. I've managed to juggle them both over the years, and I think that the days of being limited to one sport are no longer there. So I want to do both. I've got long service leave coming up next year from work, so it'll give me a bit of time. I've got to get the holiday to Europe out of the way, though, otherwise my wife will kill me. So we're going to go and do a holiday around the Greek islands. But after that, middle of the year on, I'm definitely targeting a couple of powerlifting competitions. They'll be with GPC and Capo, the two federations that I lift with. And the bodybuilding comp I'm targeting at this moment, I'm not sure. So there's a lot of changes in NABO, the federation that I compete in. So I'm sort of reassessing what I'm going to do bodybuilding wise, but I will continue training for both sports. And I just don't see myself slowing down at all. And with the added impetus of the benefits of Protandim, I'm really excited. I want to go to the gym now.
Yeah, cool. And just so that everybody understands, training for a multiple disciplined athlete in completely different disciplines, because they are bodybuilding and powerlifting are completely different, is a very, very big call to be doing at the same time, right?
Yeah,
it's a big call. It's not one and the same. There's diets and things that are different. So to be able to do both is pretty full on it, and especially at your age.
Yeah. Well, the way I work it is that if I'm just doing a off season, I train pretty much I call it a power bodybuilding style, and I do focus on the three power lifts, but I put in all the other body work, the the other body parts and stuff as well. If I'm targeting a powerlifting competition, usually between 16 or 12 weeks, depending what program I'm working on, then I change purely to powerlifting style training, and I'll work up to the comp. If I've got a bodybuilding competition coming up, depending on how what my conditions like, I find I try not to let myself get more than about 5 kilos over, maybe 6, 7 kilos over my target weight for the day. I usually spend between 20 or 16 weeks dieting for a competition in bodybuilding. So yeah. My training doesn't change a great deal, but the diet sure does.
Yeah, it does. And I think that when you've got the multidisciplines, your recovery is so important in that, right? Because a lot of bodybuilders struggle when they finish their bodybuilding competitions. They do struggle. I've had some girls that I've had to train, like basically get them out of the, what would you call it, the coming off the competition place, where they've just fallen in a heap because their bodies have crashed on them because they haven't actually taken care of themselves properly through competitions. So activating all of this and having this working in your body is so important. I'm really excited to see how you go now that you're on this. Really excited.
Yeah, well, me too, because it'll be the first time I've done a competition actually using it seriously. And I don't know if I'm being premature, but I want to hear a little bit more about this other supplement you've got coming online too.
So
are we able to talk about that yet?
You know a little bit about it, right? So you're excited.
I know a little bit, and I'm very excited.
Yeah, he's talking about NRF1 and NRF1 for anybody on the line that we don't have in Australia yet, but we're getting. It's with the TGA at the moment. So, but you know a little bit about that, right? That is pretty exciting for all athletes. Yeah. What do you reckon that will do for you when you get that?
Oh, geez, the sky's the limit. I'm so excited about having the opportunity to use it. So definitely got to keep me in the loop with that when it's available.
Yeah, we will.
I'll be really, really keen to.
Cool. Well, I've got some questions here in the chat for you. Let me see.
Yep.
One of them has asked, do you change your doses pre, during, and post comp, or will you? Because you haven't used it for that yet, but will you?
I've only used the recommended dosage. If I thought it was of benefit, I would definitely increase it through the more intense phase of my training. But you're the expert on that, and I'd like to ask you: would you recommend doing that?
Yeah, some of the athletes that I've spoken to, when they're going into comp, so like the triathletes and that, where it's a one-day event, they do up it before, during, and after, and then they go back to normal. So for you, when you're doing here I am interviewing the athlete, telling the athlete on the interview, right? But hopefully it will benefit everybody. But the athletes, if you feel that your body is being run down, like can sometimes happen when you're depleted and things like that, I would definitely up it. And on those days of competition, when you are in particular in the bodybuilding, then yes, I would definitely up it to 2 a day. Yep.
Yeah. Well, there's your answer. Sorry, what's that?
There you go, Angela. You'll be able to feel it because you know what's going on in your body. One thing that a lot of people listening, if you're not athletes, when you're talking to an athlete, if they're in tune with their bodies, which most are, they'll know if this is working or not. They can feel it, and sometimes it's not necessarily something tangible. It's not like what Shane said before. He hasn't been injured, so he can't give you that U-Butte testimony story. But we feel it. We feel it, and we know it's working in our bodies because of our training and what that sort of stuff. So it's not as tangible as a cancer testimony or something like that. So yeah, but yes, definitely up it when you need it.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
And then one of them. Oh, how long have you been taking Protandim? Brandon asked.
I think it's been nearly a year. I did have a bit of a gap while I was overseas for a while of about a month where I wasn't able to order it. But I've actually gone and ordered a 6-month supply now, which has arrived, and I'm getting stuck into. So, but
Perfect.
yeah, about a year, and I sort of feel that that the time I was off, I was still getting some sort of a residual effect because I still continued to progress in my in my lifts, etc., and my condition didn't deteriorate at all. So yeah, again, I don't know the science on that, but I think there is some sort of a residual effect, and that was in play for sure. But I don't want to get off it now. I want to keep using it because I love the stuff.
Yeah.
And it's so convenient. One little pill, like I don't have to mix all these brews. And one of the things that I do want to do is in my supplementation, as I'm getting older, I'm becoming more health conscious, not just fitness conscious. And a lot of the supplements that I've been taking are full of rubbish, artificial flavourings and sweeteners, etc., which I really want to cut out. And as I mean, if I can continue getting the results I'm doing with the Protandim, I'm going to try and phase out a lot of the other supplements that I might find are redundant, because if I'm getting the effect from Protandim, I won't need it from something else.
Yeah. Well, one thing that you might find that can go like quite fast, I think we spoke about it the other night, is your actual antioxidants. So for anyone that's on the line that's new to this, you don't have to take antioxidants when you're taking Protandim, because your body's much more effective at making them. So you still want to eat your antioxidant rich foods, right? Like your berries and the good stuff. We know what antioxidants are in, and get it from your food. But you don't have to take the synthetic supplements that are as an antioxidant. You want to take Protandim to get the body to make it, because when you're taking the supplements, and you know this, it's a supplementation, and it's a 1-to-1 ratio, 1 antioxidant, 1 free radical, done. But when your body makes it, it's an enzymatic process. There's a very big difference. So those enzymes are working on a ratio of 1 to 1 million per second every second. So that's the big difference. So you can cut out the antioxidants if you haven't already. Yeah. So what else have we got? So one of the guys, Tony, said, "Hi Shane, I got back into weights after about 25 years. I'm 61, and within 3 weeks I was benching 30 kg dumbbells. The recovery I found was phenomenal. Some of the young ones look at me like, what's he on?"
Love it.
And then one of the guys has asked about your mental conditioning. Have you noticed your mental conditioning increase or get better? You haven't, he's asked during comp time, so you don't know that yet, but you will.
Yeah, I'll tell you one thing. At the moment, I'm on a low-carb diet, and low carbs always make me a bit vague. And that's probably coming across in this interview. But I probably haven't felt any more vague than usual. But look, any of the issues that I have like that are only a temporary thing from the lack of carbohydrates, which I every time I want to, if I'm a couple of kilos over, I'll go low carb for a couple of weeks and drop a bit of extra body weight. But I haven't been monitoring it, but that's something, it's a really, really good question. And I will continue, or start to do that and try and ascertain, certainly when I'm doing my competition diets, get back to you on that one. But one thing I do feel is that my overall sense of well-being, moods and etc. It has definitely improved. I work in a fairly high pressure job in a security industry, and I find myself just being a lot more diplomatic and friendly with problematic people on the job. So some of my colleagues are saying, "Hey, what's going on with you? Are you getting soft as you get old or something?" I'm just feeling good and more patient and not as aggressive. More aggressive in the gym with the weights, but less aggressive just in the world. And I don't know if that's, again, I don't know if that's a side effect that anybody has ever noted before, but that hormonal balance, I guess, hormones can cause a lot of aggression, and that's the thing. If your hormones are balanced a lot more efficiently, then I guess that would be a side effect.
Yeah, cool. And then Peter asked about the strength have you noticed a gain in strength? He got on late, strength and recovery. And Peter, yes, definitely. We went over that. But yeah, there's definitely a gain in strength. Did you say that you are stronger now than you were in your 20s?
Pound for pound, definitely would be. When I was in probably my best lifts were in my 30s. But I lifted it in powerlifting in equipped lifting, sorry. So that, for those that don't know, that means using bench press shirts and suits, belts, wraps, etc. So my totals were a lot higher, but now I lift raw. Comparatively, the lifts are probably just as strong or stronger. Well, for instance, my best bench equipped in my 30s and at a heavier body weight was 227.5 kilos, and that was at just under 100 kilos. And now I'm benching 170, 180 raw with around about 90 kilos. So pound for pound, all things being equal, I'm lifting at least as well. And I'm noticing that I measure those in the power lifts, but what I have noticed are just general lifts have improved a lot. And my tricep strength has improved dramatically. Just a lot of the assistance type exercises, the curls, etc. I didn't focus probably as much on them with heavy weights before. Now I'm just finding that the weights are increasing dramatically, and it's quite exciting actually. It's nice.
Yeah, we love it. We love it. Well, does anyone else have any questions? If you do, type it in the chat. Hey, what would you say would be the best amount to take for someone coming back into bodybuilding after an injury?
Again, see, look, I'd probably ask you, Karen, on that, because you've got a little bit more experience on it.
So anyone that's coming back in, it's still one to start with, guys. It's still one, and then just see what happens. Like if it's not doing anything, you might need to up it to 2. But just start on 1. I'd start everyone on 1. You don't know. Some people might detox really, badly or whatever, or quickly, or not anything at all, because it has milk thistle in it. That was something we were talking about the other night about the liver. Remember, we were talking about that. So milk thistle's for our liver, so it helps detoxify our liver. So if your liver's struggling, which a lot of people's liver is, and athletes in particular, you're putting a lot of pressure on the organs in your body, asking them to do a lot more work than a sedentary person. You don't really know what's going on inside. So just start with 1. Start working on the inflammation and injuries, and then, see what happens. If you need to talk to me ever, just send me a PM or, some of the other leaders, and we're more than happy to help out, direct you in the right direction.
Well, one of the things that really impressed me with the product, and actually at first I was very skeptical, was I thought 1 pill, typical bodybuilder, powerlifter mentality. I thought 1 pill, that's not going to do anything, Maybe I should take 10 of these, And that's just the way my mind thinks. But obviously, I didn't go and do that. And that's what the science behind it is. It's not the amount you take so much. It's what it does inside your system that gives you the effect.
It's the way that the active ingredients have been put together to work effectively, and much more effectively than by themselves. So, 18 times stronger in some cases. So that's the synergy of it, the synergy, and then the synergy within our bodies. So, yeah, awesome. Is there any more questions before we say bye to everyone and bye to Shane? I think everyone is saying thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you all for tuning in.
It's an absolute pleasure talking to you. I love talking to you. I think that we could probably talk like for hours, right, about athletes. But thank you so much for your time tonight. Thank you, everybody, for coming on and listening to Shane tell us what this does for him.